Okay, let's try to answer some of these questions for you. This is in response to the video I did where you were supposed to ask me for questions, ask me for questions, ask me questions. I said, please send me an email. Here's my email address. A lot of you are just terrible at directions, huh? I don't blame you. It's no wonder that you're here. I'm not the greatest with instructions either. I am a man. But we're going to start with the questions that are in the comments under that video because those people who asked a few questions there did not email me. So I wrote those down here. I've got a couple more pages of questions here that people sent via the email. It's just going to be easier for me to do it this way. I have not pre-thought out the answers to these, so in typical fashion for this channel, off the cuff, as always. So a lot of these, though, are questions I've had before, so it shouldn't be that long, hopefully. First question in the comments under the videos about the stickers. I drew up and had these stickers made. This is the Astro Van Tribe sticker. That's my van. The Sasquatch driving it with an alien there in the passenger seat. The wood looks like poles for a teepee. It's actually like a pyramid. There's a lot going on in that, symbology wise, symbolism wise. Just for fun. Yeah, look, I was selling sticker packs for $10 a piece when I first got these, and it was pretty incredible. Like a lot of people reached out and wanted them, and I don't know, maybe half a dozen people sent me way more than $10. I don't have many of these left. They're almost gone, and I don't know if or when I will print more up. But lately, when somebody emails me and wants one, I've been sending them one gratis, on my own dime there with the stamp and everything. No big deal. If you want to send me money for that, that's fine. But if you ask, when I find the time, I could send you one. Not the end of the world there. How did I? A lot of these are Astrovan questions. So if you're not here for the Astrovan content, I apologize. And they're going to be peppered in. There's going to be a lot of different questions, all different topics. I didn't categorize them into categories. Other than the questions from women, I did not want to get into that too much. And the ones about me and my appearance and whatnot. We'll get into that at the end. Some of you, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with some of you. But the next question is how I insulated the van. I really didn't. I did the ceiling. I put some Reflectix up, and then I put Thinsulate underneath that. Then I've got the wood that's floating there. And of course, above the roof is the wood deck. So that's in pretty good shape. Now, I did recently stick some Thinsulate on one of the side panels where I was able to fit it between the metal there, and that's going to work out perfect. But it is a van with windows all the way around. So how do you do that? I have a plan for window coverings. If you guys don't know who Foresty Forest is, he's one of my favorite YouTubers. Follow him. Look at him when he was doing his van build for the van he's in now, the 4x4 Chevy. It's like the Chevy Express. And he did his in a parking lot in the wintertime in Canada, and he made these insulated roll down covers that snap in place. I'm going to mimic that. Show and tell on the cow. So some guy saw the video on the knives and was curious about when I did cowboy action shooting. So some friends and I got into that. Our outfit, our rig was more like the 1950s TV cowboy. So it was just Levi's and cowboy boots and a shirt. I do have a cross draw and a regular draw. I've got a lever action 1873 knockoff that was $1,000 by Cimarron. It's one of my favorite rifles. And I had the pump action 1897 shotgun. And we went out and competed just like they do to get good at it. And the plan was to do it. I did join the Cowboy Action Shooting Society, whatever that's called. I came up with my own name of Pine Box Mike, which I thought was okay. But then we never got to the point where we actually competed, other than our own thing. And I was getting pretty good at it. So he wants a show and tell. Maybe I'll do a video on that, pulling out what I still have left of that rig, that whole setup. Might be fun for you guys. I did do a couple videos on the Alec Baldwin shooting when that happened, explaining how a single action army revolver works and how, he was basically lying. He had to have pulled the trigger. I'm not going to get into that right here, right now. But in both of them, I have a holster on. The first one, I'm just wearing shorts and going through it. And the second one, I actually get dressed up a little bit, which is kind of funny. If you want to look at that, you can find it in my playlist there or something. How did I get to LA? Yeah, man, LA is a weird place. I was stationed at Seal Beach when I was a security forces Marine, so I knew a few people here. And I went back to Jersey and I was working there, and some pretty heavy stuff was going down with what I was doing with my life. And I decided I needed to leave town. If you read or you watch the video, my Hitman story video, I kind of go over it a little bit there. So I recommend you looking at that video. And I'm almost always congested when I start these videos. If you hear me cough, because I was laying around or doing something else. It's the first, I haven't spoken to another human being yet today. That's usually what happens with these videos. So that's the answer to that question too. But if you watch the video, my Hitman story, you'll kind of get the gist of what was going on in my life. And I decided I kind of had to leave town. And I knew a gal out here, so I had a place to stay as soon as I got here. We're going to have some helicopters that are going to get in the way of the sound here. I apologize. Next one. All right. This should have gone into the questions that the girls ask, because this has been mentioned in the comments on Sarah's videos, Wonder Hussey's videos, and this chick here, and she's laughing. She's making a joke at it, but she says, how long have you and Wonder Hussey been boning? Sarah and I are just pals. Not that it's anybody else's business. I do like her. I think she likes me fine. I didn't get that vibe from her. Maybe you guys picked up on it. I do find that a lot of people pick up on some things in these videos that aren't actually there. You guys are just imagining things, which is okay. She's really super cool, and I mean, you know, if we were to hit it off, I'm not opposed to it. I do like her, but no, officially no. The Lemmy story. So another guy made a comment in another video. He brought up Lemmy. What was it, Kilmster? I guess Lemmy played for Motorhead. I've met a lot of people out here, and I met Lemmy on multiple occasions, and the crazy thing is I didn't even know who he was. I used to ride motorcycles with this group of guys called the Cretans, and we'd cruise around town, mostly Thursday nights. And it was pretty dumb because we were bar hopping, drinking, and then riding like maniacs through Los Angeles. And I'm talking like maniacs. So splitting lanes here is legal. And I'd go up on sidewalks and all kinds of ridiculous, dumb things. But I met Lemmy. Every time I met Lemmy, it was at the Rainbow Room upstairs. There's like this little mini bar up there. And I remember the first time other people were talking to him, and then suddenly I found myself next to him, and we just started talking. And he was just a normal, cool dude and treated me like a super cool guy. And it was after that people said, dude, Lemmy really likes you, man. That's cool. And my thing is like, well, who is he? What does he do? And they told me. I'm not a fan of Motorhead. I just I don't own their music, and it wasn't a thing for me. And I spoke to him at least 2 more times after that at the same place. And he remembered me, and he was, hey, Mike, what's going on? And he was just a super cool, nice, normal human being. And that's all I have to say about that. There was nothing nutty that happened. I can't tell you any crazy story. It was just small talk about LA and what we were doing, and that's it. That's the end of that. There's nothing more to tell. How do I handle crowds and the traffic in Los Angeles? Again, these are all the questions that are underneath the video. It's easy. I don't go anywhere anymore. I sit home every night. And I live kind of near Paramount Studios, Larchmont Village area. I have a workshop in a client's garage down near 4th and La Brea. That's just under 3 miles away. Most of my work, 99% of all the work I do is right here within a 3-mile radius. So I don't need to go anywhere, man. And I know the city well enough to where if I do have to go somewhere, I know when is a good time to get on the highway and when isn't. And as I said, I just don't go out anymore. I am home every night. Okay, the questions from the emails. The first thing is not so much of a question as it is comments. And there's this guy, and I'm not going to use last names here. I will for this guy because he was just super cool. Roger Dawson. Roger's a real nice guy, man. He sent me several emails already, and he actually sent me a $25 Amazon gift card. So thank you, dude. You know, I never ask for that sort of thing. You guys will notice I don't have a Patreon. I almost never mention anything about subscribing or hitting the like button or anything or leaving comments. That's just not my thing. Ironically, that's how Sarah is too. And I just realized that recently. So we are kind of kindred spirits there. But he made a lot of really interesting comments, and he thought, and he's in production, and he thinks it'd be great if I did a format like Bill Maher or Lex Friedman, only like outdoors. Yeah, basically a podcast. And I will say about that, I've been getting that for a long time, including from many of my friends, personal friends that go back decades. And I would love to do that. That would be I think it'd be fun. I think it's harder for a guy like me to become successful at that and get followers because I'm nobody. You know, I'm just some dude. It's interesting to me how people who are already famous and already making millions of dollars start a podcast and then they're instant hits. Now they're making even more money that way, and good for them. I'm not knocking it. It's America, capitalism. Right on. Uh, I don't have the latest, greatest stuff. Right, my laptop doesn't really sync with my phone. Uh, you guys know I'm just learning the mic thing. I can't even arrange it on the phone right, so the dead cat on the thing is always out of the frame. I'm just figuring it out, man. But I would like to. And if I could afford a new computer and a few other the little small essentials I would need, I could do that. And the thing is that, and I notice this in the comments and the emails. I think a lot of you are far more interesting than I am. I do. And I know a lot of people that I think are more interesting than me. And I would like to have them on a podcast. And I truly believe in highlighting real human beings, you know, and especially blue collar type people. And it is fun to talk to people from all different walks of life. I like talking to white collar people too, and academics, and you know, people that are doctors, and I really like talking to psychologists or psychiatrists, and because I inevitably say things to them in conversation where they go, hmm. They would be fun to have on. I personally would enjoy other podcasts more if they peppered in average people. I mean, average, how do you say it? Normal people that maybe have a higher degree of intellect, because there's a guy driving a garbage truck that's a smart dude. You know what I'm saying? I've talked to bums on the street that would blow your mind with knowledge, the ones that are coherent. So to me, that would be interesting. Just talking to people on the street. And I know there's people that do that. So who knows? Maybe down the road. Let's get back to the questions. Oh, he did give me a good compliment on the video I recently did on the Men Should Never Strike Women. He's not the only one. I did a video talking about this before. I think it was the Me Too movement when that happened. And I'm pretty certain there's a video on YouTube about that. I don't know if it was highlighted as Me Too or not. But when I did that one via Facebook, friends of mine going way back were sending me personal stories of women that tried to ruin their lives or did, or ruin their friends' lives. And we all know these stories. And I'm not saying women are terrible. They're not. I love women. And there's plenty of bad men out there too. But it is interesting when I put this out there, the flood of personal stories I get of how men have been abused in one way or another. It's interesting. I'm fascinated by that. Okay, so let's jump down to most like take on things. Most like my I did make a note for myself here, and I want to say thank you to everybody who's here watching this now, and the new people who've been recently coming in here. If you look at the comments in my recent videos, they're very complimentary. That's thank you. Uh, I'm, again, 99.9% of all the comments that you guys leave are positive and encouraging, and I'm getting accolades and all this sort of thing, and I really do appreciate it. I never expect any of that. Of course, the ones I only remember are the ones where people are screwing with me. We'll get to those because they're funny to me. Gilbert, he likes the clunker videos and wants more. And do I have any for sale? Yeah, I've always got bikes that are kind of for sale. The way it works is, if you don't know what a clunker is, back before you could buy a mountain bike, people were building them. We all did it. Even I did it as a kid. You take old frames, you take other parts from different bikes, you put them together, and you build a bike that can do the things you want to do on it. It's very simple. So I have hoarded vintage American-made frames and different parts, a lot of parts from 80s mountain bikes, BMX parts, that sort of thing. And in between my woodworking projects, that's what I'll do. I'll hustle building custom bikes. And each one's like a work of art, all made from vintage parts, and I get really good money for them. And I've got a whole shop full of frames and parts and all that. And what I should be doing is probably starting to sell the parts, because I don't know how many more bikes I'm really going to build anymore. So hit me up on that. I'm not giving the stuff away, but I will sell you some stuff. Ralph, a book. Oh, he wrote me a book. He wrote me like several paragraphs. Super nice guy. He saw my address on one of my videos. He noticed I live near the Forever Cemetery, Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Wanted to know if I knew anybody personally who was buried there. No, not that I can think of. I thought about doing this video, but it would make it too long, of pictures of me in there back in the 90s. I used to do photography on the side and hustle doing that. And I used to shoot headshots and 3/4 shots and all that. Did a little smutty type of stuff from time to time. And these were all things that people wanted me to shoot of them for whatever they needed them for. And I do have a bunch of pictures of me with my hair gets curly when it's long. I've got long hair and very 90s, like grunge look and everything, that I laugh. Every time I see these pictures of myself, they just make me laugh my ass off because it's ridiculous. But that's all I have to say about the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Other than they have these movies weekly when the weather gets warm, and it's kind of nice to go see a flick there. It's a scene. Luther, question, but no question. Yeah, you didn't actually you didn't send me a question, dude. You just want to say how much you like seeing me and Wonder Hussy together in the videos. To answer this, and I might touch on it in a moment again. Are we going to do any more videos together? Which is what he was alluding to. I did get that question from many people. Sarah and I talk from time to time. We text more often. We get along. We talked about it when we were at the hot springs and all that. Yeah, probably. I'm hoping that we can meet up and do something together, which I think would be fun. I think it'd be fun for both of us to have the experience. But I think it'd be even more fun for those of you who are fans of her channel and my channel. Good time. So I'm totally 100% open for it. I'm really open to meeting up with other YouTubers, in particular ones that are way more successful than me, because obviously it helps the channel out, right? Cross-pollination is a thing, and I think it's interesting to talk with other YouTubers that have been doing it longer and know more than I do, and to get what their experiences are. I was recently talking to the Overlander next door, Juliana. She's a sweetheart, man. Really, really nice person. So I'm pretty sure I'll meet up with her at some point in the near future. I have met up with some YouTubers. Most of them are pretty cool. Not all of them are. Noah, tool loadout. So Noah's a carpenter. He wanted to know how I do my tool loadout on the Astrovan. You can go to all my build videos and really get a better idea, but just so you understand, I have two little built-in cabinets that are tight to the wheel well, so you could still put a 4x8 sheet of material on the floor in the van. There's a cabinet behind the seat that's like a closet that is on top of that cabinet, and it cantilevers over. So again, you can still slide stuff under it. The key is the floating deck for the mattress. So it's just a bunch of open area underneath there, and I can put everything I need underneath there. Even if I wanted to carry my DeWalt table saw and that sort of thing, I very rarely use it. This past year, I've spent a lot of money on upgrading my entire power tool system to the 18-volt cordless system. And I have almost everything I need now. I do want to get the 12-inch miter saw that runs on two 18-volt batteries. I keep seeing the price anywhere from about $800 to $1,500. I mean, literally, I see that price range jump. So I keep hoping to catch it when I have the coin, when it's on the low end, around $800-900, and I'll probably snap that up then. I bought the Makita. I have 3 of the cordless Makita circular saws. I find that the 6.5 inch is the one I use the most. It runs on a single battery. I bought the 7.25 inch worm drive. I've almost never used it. Too much torque. It's really not a one-handed operation tool. But I also bought the Makita, I think it's a 6.5 as well, but it's the track saw that runs on 2 batteries. And I really like that because it works with my old Festool rail system. And I have the old giant Festool, the big one, track saw. With the track saw and the tracks, it's like having a portable table saw with you. So with that and everything else I have, I'm not too limited. Going to the 18-volt cordless system shrunk my kit I can carry more, and I can pack a bunch of the tools in the little carry bag. So that's how I'm doing it, man. Everything's, I have a tool tote and then bags of all the other tools, and it's working out fine. But I might do a video just on that, and maybe I'll do it for you, brother. Addie, don't take this the wrong way. I don't know if you're a man or a woman with that name. I'm suspecting a lady. She wants to know how to mount a rear tire on the back of the Astro. The way that would work is you need a custom bumper with the swivels built into that, possibly even that attached to the side of the vehicle, and then you've got these arms that pivot off of that. So they're separate. They don't actually attach to the back doors. If you have the barn door system where you just have two doors on the back of your van, you can retrofit a regular tire carrier from another vehicle on the back of one of those doors. And she wanted to know if there was any Astrovan events coming up. It's not my thing to get involved doing Astrovan stuff. I've mentioned it in some of my videos. There's going to be a meetup. Probably will be at some point. My brother has a large piece of property on Old Route 66. And it's just water, people. It's just water. Don't get too excited. In Arizona, and we'll probably get something together. He's okayed it, and I just need to find the time. And it's hard for me to plan in advance with things because I don't often know when I'm going to make the time. And usually when I take off, it's kind of like, okay, I'm just going. But I'll try to do that. Oh, and hey, Addie, please send me pictures of your high-top Astrovan. I'm very curious about it. And you might have sent me a phone number. Somebody else here did. And I can give you a call and talk to you. No problems. Pete! He has an Astrovan. He's also a woodworker. Wants to know more about the Astros, like how to find out information and whatnot. I think, Pete, that your daughter actually contacted me, and then I sent her the email, and you emailed me. Yeah, and you mentioned you need to get on Facebook. You do, because there's groups there. But I will say, and you'll see this in my other videos, I'm not super keen on the help that you get from the groups there. There is an Astrovan forum. There's a couple of forums and other pages. Astro Safari World, that's run by a friend of mine, Aaron Spoolstra. That's got a lot of really good information with no drama. And the problem I have with the groups on Facebook and the forum, it gets a little dramedy, kind of, at different times. I just want to know the information mostly. I don't want to get too drawn into a long back and forth in text form. It's just not my thing. So that's why I pulled away from that. I just do my own thing. I'm just figuring it out, which is more entertaining, I find, because a lot of times I don't know what I'm doing. I might be wasting money and time and screwing up, but you get to see it in real time. And I could probably save myself a lot of aggravation if I actually spent more time learning from people. But I was doing that early on, and a lot of what I was hearing was not applicable to me. Even though it was the same problem, the solution wasn't the same for me in a lot of these situations. And the modifications I've done to the van are different from what a lot of other people have done. So, yeah, and there's a lot of people done way more stuff. Like I love the idea of the straight axle swap with the leaf springs in the front. There's a lot of advantages to that. Initially, people were telling me if you didn't do something greater than a Dana 44, it's not worth it. That the independent suspension is just as good as a Dana 44. I don't believe that's true at all. If you go to a straight axle swap in the front, you no longer have to worry about CV axles. That's a big stinking deal. You can get rid of your torsion suspension spring system and have a leaf spring up front, do a better shock setup. Now, there's a lot of custom fabrication that has to happen with that. That's not something you do on your back in your driveway with no experience. There's no kit for that. Not yet. Maybe the guys from the swim shop will make a kit for it. Are you guys watching this? I should have worn your t-shirt again today in this video. I would like to do that, actually, even to my van. I just don't know. For now, I'm okay. Roger, notice my obvious Greek last name. He wants to know if there's any Zorba the Greek types in my family. If you don't know the movie Zorba the Greek, I highly recommend it. It's an odd pace. It's a black and white flick. It's Anthony Quinn, who played Greeks in at least 3 movies that I know of that I can't think of the names of other than Zorba the Greek right now. Anthony Quinn was actually Mexican, but played a great Greek man. And if you don't know the movie, it's like this bookish writer, English guy, inherits a piece of property on a Greek island. And he's he's waiting to get on a boat, and there's a rainstorm, and they can't get on the boat because of the weather. So he meets Zorba the Greek, Zorba, at this where I forget what the heck it's called. I can't even think right now. Where you would go, a marina, I guess, and you're waiting for the boat. All right, and he starts talking to Zorba. Zorba spies him as being English. He must have money. So Zorba wants to befriend him because he thinks maybe he can make some coin there. And they do. They strike up a conversation and they become pals. Zorba's pretty pushy about it. But there's a point in the movie that I love because the writer, he asks Zorba, can you do this? He's talking about creating this mine. And Zorba says, I have a mind in two hands. My mind tells my hands what to do. I can do anything. That's basically the gist, is not verbatim, of what he says. And that's the truth. So do I have any of those in my family? Yeah, everyone in my family's like that. Greeks are like that. When I went home to Greece, which I'd never been to before, my dad's grandfather came to America. It's funny because I have a whole thing about the comparisons between Mexico and Greece. It's a comedy routine that I worked up years ago that I should probably do for you guys. We'll get into that in a little bit. But there's a lot of similarities between Mexicans and Greeks that is very funny to me. The can-do attitude, And anyhow, my dad's grandfather came to America and he worked in New York City. He tiled the Lincoln Tunnel. He worked on skyscrapers there. And again, turn of the last century. And he went back to Greece. He bought a mountain, created a village, built a church. The name of the village is Anthusa. Built the first house there in 1913. It's the house my father was born in. They did not know how to build a house. And it did not stop them. A 3-story house of stacked stone that's still standing today, even after all the earthquakes and everything. And the bottom floor, the walls are like 3 feet thick. And then as you go up to the 3rd floor, they taper. And all the floor joists are trees with the bark still on them. And they shimmed wedges in to hold the floor level. You can only see that from the bottom level. Every other level, when you look at the ceiling, it's all wood tiles that they did by hand. I have the hand planes and everything in my kitchen right now, up on a shelf in there. I brought back with me from Greece. So yeah, everybody in the family is a Zorba. Eileen was a sweetheart. So she sent me an email with her email and phone number. I'll probably give you a call, Eileen. She's been binge watching the videos. By the way, a lot of you tell me you've been doing that. And I know it's true because I'm seeing the numbers and I'm seeing comments on my older videos, some of which are many years old. So thank you. Some guy commented on the first video ever that's been up for over 10 years. I thought that was super cool. She wants to know what questions to ask a seller and what to look for when you're buying an Astrovan. I'm not going to get too deep in that now because I could talk for an hour on that. I think I'm going to have to do a video for you on that. But you basically want to ask for any of his records on repair work and everything. You want to get underneath the van. You want to look for obvious leaks. I've gone over this many times in my videos. So Eileen, stay tuned on that. I'm going to do a video mostly for everybody, but it's going to be special just for you. Okay. The women questions. How old am I? Why am I single? Kids, all these personal things, and a lot of them weren't questions. They're just some interesting statements from you ladies. I'm 56. Yeah. And why am I single? That's a long, I'd have to do a video just on that. Because if you were to ask me why I'm single at different points in my life, there'd be a different answer for it each time. I mean, it boiled down to, for a long time, I just like variety. So I heard somewhere a long time ago, like it's a choice between being alone or being annoyed. I cannot stand being annoyed. And I'm perfectly good with being alone. So I think that sums it up in a nutshell. I think that's a pretty good, I'm done. Am I open to it? Yeah, 100%, especially now at my age where I understand things a lot better. But it would take a tall order. I don't think I need perfection or anything, but it's hard to find somebody who is like real smart, not overly emotional, and somebody who doesn't take themselves too seriously. And I don't like argumentative types. I don't want docile going along to get along either, and I like feminine. It's funny. I like a tomboy who's not going to be afraid to go fishing or go vanning and drive around a van and adventure around, do all that stuff. But I still want you to look like a girl. Be feminine. So it's tough with me, you know. Body types, all that sort of thing. I've tried everything. I like it all mostly, you know. I have these funny things I could say that, as a woman, if you heard me say them, you might not think that they're funny, but they're funny to me. So I don't know, man. Nice skin and hands and all that sort of thing are important if you want to talk about the physical stuff. But as far as, I just need a good human being. I like the women that a lot of people find annoying, that are the uh, glasses half full. You know, they tend to see life through a happy lens. You know, ignorance is bliss, maybe. I don't know. I don't think that they're ignorant to life or anything. I think that they just choose to be happy, which that's not just women in my life. That's all the people in my life I want to have around. Nobody wants to see anybody piss and moan and bitch all the time, which is not to say I can't handle somebody who pisses and moans and bitch once in a while. I do it. We all do it. It's fine. But if that's what you're doing all the time, that's no fun. Women can be scary, man. So if I can be myself 100% and say the off-color things I say without being looked down upon for it, that would be a big step in the right direction. So file that one away. Kids, none that I know about. I could get a knock on the door right now from like a 45-year-old person that could be my kid. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. And then, you know, just this thing about, I get these weird comments sometimes, and they're funny to me. And I like responding to them because I mentioned it in another video. I like to highlight the negative stuff from people. It's not about me. It's about pointing out that people do it. I'm fascinated by people who take the time to put something out there that's like a dig or something negative, because that's coming from a place within them. It always says way more about them. Always. But I mean, some guy said I look like in my pictures I'm grinding my teeth all the time. Yeah, just that's me smiling. I don't know. That's just a funny thing. But the funniest one recently was the eyebrows. Somebody's accusing me of coloring my eyebrows. I don't color my eyebrows. I had a friend back home, and she used to accuse me of dyeing or coloring my mustache uh, when my hair was changing, and the mustache was a lot darker than the rest of my facial hair. It's just the way it comes in, man. And believe it or not, sometimes it's darker, sometimes it's whiter. And I look at the hairs on my face sometimes, and I'll see white at the end, but dark behind it in the same hair. So I don't know what that's about. I do put collagen in my little drink I make in the mornings and all that. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. I do take a product from time to time that helps your body naturally produce its own testosterone. I've never taken a testosterone supplement. I've never done Viagra either or anything like that. Don't need to. I'm Greek, man. I'm healthy. Everything works. and and some of the digs I get from time to time, and lately it's been mentioned uh, because of the story stuff. And you know, Sarah sold me to all you newbies here as a good storyteller, and I enjoy telling stories, and I've got a lot of them. Those are the videos that get the most views and the most likes and all of that. So there's going to be more of that. But some of the dudes on here are here for the Astrovan content or the carpentry stuff, which hardly get any views really, and the bike stuff. And they get a little bit funny. And I know what it is. It's like, dude, what, you full of yourself? That kind of thing. I'm not full of myself. But if you're going to do this sort of thing, you've got to be, I've had to learn how to get comfortable with speaking about myself. And you know what, dude? You should love yourself and you should like yourself. And if you don't, you should work on that, because if you don't, you're probably making other people around you uncomfortable all the time. And you're probably not a whole lot of fun to be around. So work on that, man. And if you find if you make yourself happier and you work on yourself, you won't think in a negative way when you're looking at others doing their thing. And you'll be more apt to type something that's more uplifting. I believe in uplifting everybody. That's what we should be doing. And I'm like a hippie warrior. That's if you had to pigeonhole me and give me a title. I believe in all this stuff. The positive mindset, being kind to one another, being good, helping one another out, doing nice things for people. Ben Franklin said, do well by doing good. I believe in that wholeheartedly. And at the same time, if somebody needs to get cracked in the head, I'm willing to do that. So that's how that works. Now look, another thing I get a lot, and I get this a lot, and I wrote it down here because not in these questions here, but in many of my older videos and in some of the more recent ones, you might see in the comments, people will mention, "You're a funny guy. You ever think about doing stand up?" Yeah. Yeah, I've always wanted to do stand up. I've been writing stuff down for years. I've got good ideas and whole stories. I'm more of a fan of the George Carlin sort of thing where you're just talking about life and you're pointing out things. I kind of have this idea about just doing this whole man school idea and talking about how I came up and what I've been around compared to what I'm seeing today with this androgynous, hypersensitive nonsense that is not going to end well for any of us, and make fun of that and have a good time with it and hope to wake people up at the same time. I mentioned this thing with the similarities between Mexico and Greece. I could go off on that. I think that's funny. The thing is if you're going to do comedy, you end up, and usually when you start out, you're going to pretty much have to talk about your life, especially your childhood. And my mom was beautiful. She's a beautiful person, but she was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man. She was not. She was out of her friggin' mind. There could be a moment where she was really nice to you, but then the next minute she's literally beating the hell out of you, physically or mentally or whatever. So, and I can make that funny. I can make you laugh and cry, and hopefully relate something that helps you out. But I couldn't do it while she was still alive. And I used to joke with her about that all the time. And, you know, that bitch wouldn't fucking die. You know? But she recently died last year. And so now that she's passed on, I feel like I could do it. I never wanted to hurt her feelings. I never felt the need to make her feel bad. You know what I mean? And that wouldn't be the intention anyhow. But we know how women can be sometimes. She knew. I was very honest with her about things, and she was in denial for a long time, man. And I had to like nail her down on stuff, not because I wanted to make her feel bad, but just I had to have that. This is not recent. This is way back in the 80s. I went through this with her to make her see the things that she had done, so that our relationship could grow in a positive way. That had to happen, you know. And from time to time, things would come. She would just say dumb things though every once in a while. I remember one time, you know, within the last, you know, just before she died, talking about my dad. She'd be like, "I would have taken him back," and I had to laugh at her, like, "What do you like?" As if he would. You made his life a living hell. What are you saying? So there were these moments, and I can make her laugh by saying that. So look, the plan is to actually find the time to start doing maybe some open mics, maybe even do a workshop or something. And I'm kind of hoping with enough of you here, and if you like me and what I'm doing, what I'm saying, and my numbers start growing, who knows? Maybe I like the idea of combining my Astrovan thing and the adventure travel stuff with possibly doing some comedy. Maybe I could be in your area and get up and do something, and maybe you guys will show up. So that could be fun. I think that would be a good time. So if you want to egg me on that, that'd be great, because I believe in marriage, and I believe in the people where it works. Spoke with an old girlfriend of mine last night. Her and her husband are celebrating 20 years today, anniversary. They got 2 great kids. And it's funny, a lot of my former girlfriends and I are still friends, and they're married, and the husbands even like me. It's pretty wild. I have a whole bit about that, by the way. Like, what does the ex say to the husband now to make him be okay with the old boyfriend, who's a fun guy and everything? Now, what she's got to say something to pad his ego, and I'm not going to go there right now with you. I'll save it because there's some funny stuff there that you can imagine on your own, I'm sure. But I just lost my train of thought there. You know what? Let's just end this here. Let's end this here, because I'm sure this video is getting kind of long. I can't see what the time is right there. That's all the questions I got. It wasn't a whole lot. I didn't think it would be, as I said earlier. I just want to say thanks again for being here. And honestly, I didn't need to do that. I did it as an experiment. I hope it's been fun for you. Feel free to ask as many questions as you want in the comments. For now, I can get to every comment for the most part. People like Sarah, Wonder Hussy, I mean, she's got 240,000 plus subscribers. There's no way she can answer all those questions or read all those comments. It's just, there's a lot of YouTubers that I watched when they started and now they're huge and they can't do it either. I suspect at some point, maybe I can get those numbers and then it'll be hard for me, to answer all your questions and whatnot. But ask away. And if I can find the time, if I have the time, I will take the time to answer your questions. That's it for now. Maybe I'll see some of you on the road at some point. There'll be some more videos coming out. I'm going to do one pretty soon here on, well, I'm not going to tell you. Let's just do it. All right. Have a great day. Be good to one another. Think positive. Bye.